welcome to Paw Prints University. Today we're talking about all things nutrition related for our animal companions, specifically for our cats and dogs. So first I just wanted to make sure y'all are in the right place. Do you know what's in your dog's food bowl? Do you know how much moisture your cat needs each day? Do you know how to switch from puppy to adult food? Is people food bad for dogs? If you have any of these questions, you're in the right place. So let's get started. This week, as I said, we're talking about nutrition. I have my 5 tips, and I also have some homemade treats and recipes for you. So I'm going to share with you some of these recipes here live, and then you will have the opportunity to get these recipes delivered straight to your inbox. So if you want to make these at home for your dogs and cats, please check us out. We are on Paw Prints University YouTube channel, or on our Facebook page, Instagram, or on our website, pawprintsaroundtown.com. All right, so let's get started with my 5 tips. The first one I get asked a lot is, what does my dog eat? What does Jilly eat? So let's find out. My dog gets a mix of raw and goat's milk. Let me show you. So she gets, sometimes I get her dehydrated raw. This is really good when you're traveling, or if you want to just take some with you, if you have a pet sitter coming. It's fun to get the dehydrated raw for that purpose. It needs to be rehydrated with either water, or what I like to hydrate it with is some raw goat's milk. So I use this brand, Answers Goat's Milk, and I add some in with some water, and sometimes I even add in some bone broth, which is one of the ingredients in one of the recipes I have for you today. So before we get to the recipes, I just wanted to share with you what Jilly eats. I am a big proponent of raw food for a lot of reasons. It helps with their digestion and their coat. It helps give them the moisture they need. I mentioned that we don't always know how much moisture cats need and how to get it for them. And if we're only feeding our cats and dogs dry kibble like this, this is a lovely kibble. There's nothing specifically wrong with the way that Fromm's or this, another one, is another great one for cats, kibble. The thing about kibble though is if it's the only thing we give our cats, they're not getting enough moisture, and that can lead to kidney issues and other things. So I just wanted to point out that it's fun to add in some wet food. So there's different brands that you can find in the pet stores. If you need some specific nutrition plans, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help. So those are some different ideas for kibble, canned, raw. There's so many, and it can be very overwhelming. And I'm happy to help you figure out the best plan for you, most affordable and most healthy for your animals. So, and also easy. I know that a lot of us are super busy, and it's hard for us to think that we have to like make homemade food. That's not always the case. So I want to make it as simple for you and nutritious for your animals. So that's my first tip. The second thing I want to talk to you about are the holidays coming up. So we have one specifically coming up here in the States, and that's Thanksgiving, which is often a time for families to get together and have a lot of extra food on their tables. So I wanted to let you know what we can share with our animals and what we cannot. So some of the favorite things to share with our animals is turkey, just the white meat. Please avoid the bones, no skin, the twine, any of that stuff. Please keep that away from your animals. However, they can have some of the fresh white meat as long as it doesn't have a lot of the herbs on it. The other thing they love, and it's very healthy for them, just like for people, for their urinary tract, are some cranberries. So we don't want to give them necessarily raw, and we also don't want to give them candied cranberries, the stuff in a jar, can. So you can cook the cranberries down a little bit, mush them up, add them to their meal, and it's a lovely treat for them to have. The other thing is sweet potatoes, green beans, and pumpkin. These are all really nutritious vegetables for them to have, as long as they don't have the added sugars, butter, oil, maybe even they shouldn't probably have the dirty onions on top of your green bean casserole, anything like that. But they can have fresh steamed green beans, canned pumpkin, fresh pumpkin, or sweet potato. Those are really wonderful treats. And that gets me to my first recipe, that I want to share with you. This one I have decided to call a 3-course Thanksgiving dinner for our canine companions. And this one I have made with 4 simple ingredients. One is turkey bone broth. The second ingredient are peas, sweet potato, and apple. And so what I did was I poured them into these molds like this. I stuck them in the freezer, and then when these are silicone molds, they're really easy to just pop on out. And then you have a delicious treat for them to have while you're having your meal. So they're having their 3-course meal that tastes like delicious turkey with some sides of sweet potato and peas, and the dessert is apple pie. And it's all natural and all healthy for our animals. So that's a really fun treat that you can make with your kids at home when you're home for the holiday. So that's my one of the recipes I wanted to share with you today. The second recipe I have for you guys is called No-Bake Pumpkin Pie Nibbles. And who doesn't want to have an easy, simple recipe? So this one, you don't even have to bake anything. You just, when you get the recipe from me, you will have all the details, but essentially this is what it's going to look like when you're done. And Jilly and my kids all taste tested and approve. So they are Jilly and Kid approved. The ingredients are very simple. It was a basic plain pumpkin pie filling, peanut butter or any kind of nut butter, oats, a little honey, and you can add even cinnamon. So a lot of dogs, that's totally fine to have cinnamon in their diet. In fact, it's even in the goat's milk I give to Jilly. Some cats don't love it, but the dogs usually don't mind it. Cats are a little more discerning than dogs. So these are lovely bites that you can share with your dogs. I have another recipe that I want to share with you guys for cats, because trust me, we take care of lots of cats here at Paw Prints, and we want to make sure they're all covered too. So I have a wonderful under the sea cat treat recipe you can find on our website, and it involves including pumpkin also, because pumpkin is a delicious food that we can give to all of our animals. The one thing I do want to note is that pumpkin is high in carbs, so we don't want to have them too much pumpkin. The other thing too is we want to balance the calories, and that is my 4th tip of the day. So we want to balance our calories. What does that mean? So I hear a lot people say, I don't want to give my dog treats because I don't want them to get fat. And I'm with you on that. We do not want any more obese animals on this planet. So let's figure out how we can balance their diet. So for example, let's say an animal is, your dog gets 2 cups of food a day, okay? We're going to take a half a cup out of their regular diet and replace it with fun, healthy treats like these 2 recipes that I'm offering for you, or any other kind of treats. So a half a cup, which is a lot. So that would be several of these, you know, and you can break them up. We can also even pop them into a Kong, so we can make these last a little bit longer by giving them a long-lasting treat. So that would be really fun too. Anyway, so the balancing the treats. I want to make sure that I'm clear with you guys that I'm not telling you to overfeed your animals. It is not where I'm going with this. I'm offering suggestions on how we can enrich their lives with lots of treats and lots of love. So that's my 4th tip. The 5th thing I want to mention, and this is really important, especially when we're talking about adding in things like pumpkin or peanut butter or even oats, honey, things like that. If your dog or cat has not had these ingredients before, take it slowly. So when I say that, even when we're adding in a new food, we want to transition them slowly and carefully when we're adding new ingredients. Animals are just like us, and they can have sensitivities to foods. For example, my dog Jilly is allergic. She's sensitive to both beef and chicken. So, and I know that because when I give her either of those, she starts shaking her head violently because she's starting to get these histamines, and it's itchy for her. And so animals, often you will notice that they are having a food sensitivity or allergy by their skin. If they start itching and scratching and you know it's not a bug related, it could definitely be a food related sensitivity. So when you're adding in any of these new ingredients, I want to make sure that you do it slowly. And that's my 5th tip of the day. While I still have you guys here, I just wanted to let you know where I got all this information, because just like you, I'm learning as we go. So about almost 20 years ago, I started working at a doggy daycare as a dog walker, and they also had a boutique. And that was the first time that I was exposed to some natural foods and the fact that we've been feeding our dogs kibble for several decades, but that we haven't always done that. We used to just give them our scraps. So when people talk about people food, what we're really talking about is like the leftovers that we want to give them to get rid of as, you know, our little canine composters. So I learned about different types of kibble and wet food and raw food from that first experience working at the boutique there. And then when I opened up Paw Prints Pet Care, which was the first name of our business, I was exposed to so many different animals and homes and how you all feed your animals. And I experienced a lot. And so, you know, I fed everything from kibble straight in a bowl, free fed, not free fed. Some animals get 5 kongs a day that are stuffed with raw food and sweet potato and yogurt. I even had a client who fed their animal, they had a cat that was a part lynx, and they fed them raw rabbit, whole rabbit. So Pet Sitter and I one day went to their house to get to learn about the routine for their animals, and she pulled a headless rabbit out of the fridge to show us what she feeds her animals. So I have experienced a lot in the almost 20 years that I've been caring for animals in regards to nutrition. So that's what I did when I was a dog walker and a pet sitter. And then when I started working at the local pet store in Tacoma Park, they were so helpful in making sure that everyone who works at the pet store and all of our clients and customers also had an understanding of why we feed our animals, what we feed them, and how we can help them have a more nutritious lifestyle. Because I don't know if you know this, our dogs and cats don't get to choose what they eat. We do. So let's make the right decisions for our animals and care for them. The reason why I'm such a big proponent of this is because it lowers our vet bills. It does. I'm telling you, if your dog does not need to go to the vet every few weeks for allergy shots, you will save money. And the other thing too is if you have an older cat who is having kidney issues, oftentimes that could have been fixed way back in the beginning by giving them some more moisture in their food, by providing wet food throughout their entire life so that they're not suffering at the end of their lives like that. And that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that we're not suffering, that we aren't suffering, our animals aren't suffering, because I know that when our animals are suffering, like, my heart hurts. Like, I am so sad when my dog isn't feeling well, you know, and then there are children, and I want to make sure that they're healthy. And so I want to share that knowledge with you guys. So over the past couple years, as I've become a dog trainer and worked with more families one-on-one and in group settings, I've also received a certificate. I worked through a certificate program on animal nutrition for dogs and cats, and also most recently on raw nutrition. And so I understand that we're not all ready to switch to raw food. I'm okay with that. I just want you to be aware that it is a great way to feed our animals, and I want to work with you where you are to find a healthy solution for all of your animal companions' needs. So that's my goal here, is to help you guys find those solutions, and all of these recipes will be available. It's later today. We're going to have them available for you guys so you can make these at home over the holidays with your family. And like I said, these are dog and cat and kid approved. So with all of that, have a wonderful, wonderful holiday week. And I hope to see you all soon. Thank you guys.